guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another UFC preview and predictions here on the channel. We've got a 14 fight card next Saturday night in the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. The main event is going to be Jairzinho Biggie Boy Rozenstruik versus Augusto Sakai. Also in the card, Walt Harris, Marcin Tybura. We've also got maybe the people's main event, Santiago Ponzinibbio taking on Miguel Baeza. Just a lot of fights that might not appeal to the casual fan, but for hardcores, this card's actually pretty damn good. So we're gonna get into it now. 14 fights on this card. But folks, if you haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more UFC here on the channel. So we start this card off with Claudio Puelles taking on Jordan the Monkey King Leavitt. We're gonna start first with Jordan Leavitt. So obviously he made his UFC debut against Matt Wiman. He won that fight in 22 seconds. He picked him up and he slammed him. Now, Jordan Leavitt, not known for the stand-up game, a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner, very good on the ground, but he got the win over Matt Wiman, just slammed him right on his head. I mean, yeah, just one of the weirder knockouts you're going to see. Pretty damn quick. Jordan Leavitt got up on out of there really damn quickly. He's 8-0 so far in his professional career. Of course, he got the win on the Contender Series against Luke Flores to get into the UFC. Won by arm triangle choke, and before that, picked up a win in LFA by Anaconda choke. So, again, 8-0 currently. He's got 5 pro submission wins, 1 by KO, which, of course, is the Matt Wiman finish, and then 2 by decision. Still has not been beat in his professional career. And Claudio Puelles is another one of these guys who are very good on the ground. I mean, this is going to be a really good ground game fight. Now, on the feet, I just don't know. Puelles and Leavitt, both of them just not the best on the feet, so that could make for an interesting fight, but for the most part, I think we're going to see this fight take place on the ground. So that's the Monkey King. Let's now talk about Claudio Puelles. And Puelles hasn't been in the octagon for a while. It was all the way back in Mexico City, Mexico, where he beat Marcos Moreano by unanimous decision on Yair Rodrigues versus Jeremy Stephens #1. And yeah, Marcos Moreano, I think I talked about him in the last video, the Cody Garbrandt Rob Font video. I mean, I don't know how his name got brought up in that one. I know because Venado was a couple weeks ago, but still, Moreano, maybe like one of the worst UFC fighters ever. No disrespect to him, but like he was coming off a win over like a 3-2 guy or 2-3 guy. Then he got the call last second to fight Groovy Venado in a co-main event spot of a pay-per-view. Yeah, that happened, and then they turned him around against Claudio Puelles, and Puelles got the job done. Since then, Marcos Moreano is 1-1. He actually just won his last fight, I think a couple months ago, so good for him. But back to Claudio Puelles. That was the last time he was in the octagon, September of 2019. Before that, he beat Felipe Silva by knee bar over in Santiago, Chile on the Maya Usman card, and then his UFC debut was the Ultimate Fighter Latin America finale. It was TKO lost to Martin Bravo. Of course, he won, or he got to the finals of the Ultimate Fighter, winning 2 fights on the preliminaries over there. I guess, yeah, he was on Team Chuck Liddell. I'm a Cabral. I didn't watch the Latin America seasons of the Ultimate Fighter. Now, I watched the finale, of course, but I didn't watch the actual season. But Puelles, obviously, though, a very good ground game, and this is where this fight, again, is going to take place. It's going to be a ground fight. Who has the better ground game between Jordan Leavitt and Claudio Puelles? As for my official prediction, though, I'm going to go with Jordan Leavitt. I just like the activity out of Jordan Leavitt. He's been fighting a lot, and again, the win over Matt Wiman, do we see a lot out of Jordan Leavitt? Not really. We just saw that one slam, and of course, he won the fight in 22 seconds, but overall, I think the ground game of Leavitt is just a little bit better than Claudio Puelles. Again, it's going to be 2 years, about 2 years for Puelles since he's been in the octagon. I just like the activity out of Jordan Leavitt, and I've really liked what I've seen out of him on the Contender Series and in LFA as well. I think Jordan Leavitt's going to get the job done. I think he'll probably submit Puelles in this one. I'll go in the second round submission for Leavitt. Now, it is kind of crazy. This fight is so low on the card. It's Sean Woodson and Youssef Zalal, and if you made this fight like a year ago or maybe like 6 months ago, before these two guys lost their first couple fights in the UFC, this fight would probably be on the main card. We're going to start first, I guess, here with Youssef Zalal. So yeah, he comes in the UFC, picks up 3 big wins to start off 2020. It's a win at UFC 247 over Austin Lingo. Then it's a win over Jordan Griffin on Poirier Hooker. And then it's a win over Slippery Peter Barrett on Lewis and Olynyk. So he's on a 3-fight winning streak, coming in to Fight Island, trying to pick up his 4th win of 2020, and he loses to Ilia Topuria. But Topuria, tremendous fighter. He loses that fight by decision. Then he takes on Sungwoo Choi on the Overeem Volkov card in the Apex as well, and he loses that fight 29-28, 29-28, and a 30-27 all for Sungwoo Choi. Now you're looking at a 3-2 record in the UFC for Zalal. I mean, again, after the Peter Barrett win, I mean, the sky was the limit for Youssef Zalal. Big winning streak. He's 3-0. He was up there with, I mean, I know we're kind of down on Kevin Holland right now, but he was up there with Kevin Holland on the year because Holland was on a roll in 2020. And yeah, Zalal takes the L to Podia, and then most recently to Sung Woo Choi. But Zalal, just one of these fighters, just good everywhere. He's got a really good ground game, and he's got a really good stand-up game as well. And now in a matchup against Sean Woodson, and I'm going to talk about how Sean Woodson, I mean, man, sky's the limit for him too, but Sean Woodson's another one of these fighters who's pretty good everywhere, just really unorthodox on the feet, and also he's pretty good on the ground as well. So that's Youssef Zalal though. Current record of 10 wins and 4 losses. 2 of those, of course, are the Taportia and Sung Woo Choi fights, and then 2 previously in LFA in 2019 took back-to-back losses over there. So that's Youssef Zalal. Let's talk about his opponent here in the Sniper, Sean Woodson. And I was so confident that Sean Woodson was going to beat Julian Rosa. I really was. I mean, that was like the lock of the night. I mean, if you want to look at the odds for that fight, we've got minus 500 for Sean Woodson. Crazy, right? I mean, he was supposed to run right through Julian Rosa. Rosa's coming back to the UFC after his first stint with the company, which wasn't great. And all of a sudden, Julian Rosa beats Sean Woodson, and now he just beat Nate Landwehr. So like, Julian Rosa's back. So honestly, looking back at it, yeah, it's not a horrible loss for Sean Woodson, considering Julian Rosa is on a 2-fight winning streak. But Woodson's ground game is pretty damn good, and he's also pretty solid on the feet. I mean, he got a flying knee finish over Terrence McKinney over in the Contender Series, picking up wins by submission as well in RFA. I just like Sean Woodson wherever this fight does go. I really do. And now, Youssef Zalal, again, the hype for him has gone way down, and same with Sean Woodson. So one of these guys got to pick up a win. One of these guys got to get all their momentum back. I think it's going to be Sean Woodson all around. I just like him on the feet. I like him on the ground against Youssef Zalal. Just all around, I think Woodson's the better fighter. That's why I'm going to go with Sean Woodson to pick up the win, to improve to 2-1 in the UFC, and I think he gets it done by decision. Now we've got Fiorot taking on Marina Moroz. Going to start first here with Fiorot. So her last fight in the UFC was a win over Victoria Leonardo. It was her UFC debut. It was on Fight Island. It was on that weird Wednesday card, the Chiesa and Neil Magny card. But yeah, Fiorot goes in there, picks up the win over Victoria Leonardo. We saw that one coming. I believe we called that one exactly right. Fiorot, second round knockout. Hey, my Tapology page says that. So yeah, it was a good win for Fiorot over Leonardo. Before that, she won the UAE Warriors Flyweight Championship. She won that in her last fight before heading on over to the Ultimate Proving Ground. And yeah, she's currently holding a record of 6 wins and 1 loss. That one loss being to Leah McCourt, current Bellator fighter right now. That's her only loss. So all around, Fiorot, pretty solid fighter, and that one loss was by split decision as well. Fiorot's coming to this fight, though, with a record of 6 wins and 1 loss. Her stand-up game is really damn good. Now, her ground game, we haven't seen it much, and it might get tested in this fight with Marina Moroz. It really might, because Moroz, we have seen she is able to get those submissions off her back. I mean, hell, like her first 5 finishes were by armbar. One of them's a win over JoJo Calderwood. It was Calderwood's first ever loss, and she was a plus 500 underdog in that one. She got the job done in 2015 on the Gonzaga Crow Cop 2 card. Yeah, I forgot that fight even happened. But Marina Moroz currently, I mean, she's been fighting the UFC, by the way, since that fight. Yeah, she's been fighting since 2015. But, I mean, currently, she is on a 2-fight winning streak, wins over Mayra Bueno Silva, and a win over Sabina Mazo. Before that, she lost to Angela Hill by unanimous decision, and then before that, she lost to probably the #1 contender, yeah, the next title challenger, in Carla Esparza. Before that, beat Danielle Taylor, won a fight, lost to Valerie Letourneau as well, and then, of course, the UFC debut win was a win over JoJo Calderwood, again, by armbar. Now, she hasn't gotten a finish since. She hasn't seen a fight of hers that has gone by finish, but still, that win over JoJo Calderwood is very impressive, and if she can get Fiorot to the ground, then she'll have a really good chance to win this fight. Now, that's a big if, though, because Fiorot, we kind of saw it in the Victoria Leonardo fight, was if Leonardo can get this one to the ground, maybe that's how she'll win that one, because that's how she beat Chelsea Hackett, of course, on the Contender Series, but Leonardo was just not able to do so. Fiorot kept that fight on the feet and really just standing TKO'd her. That fight was over. Leonardo was basically just out on her feet. So it's a tough fight to call here between Marina Moroz and Fiorot. I wouldn't call it technically a styles matchup, but it kind of is going that way for me, because I think if Fiorot can keep this one on the feet, she'll definitely get the edge, and if Moroz can drag this one to the mat, then she'll have a good chance to win this fight as well. But my official prediction is going to be Fiorot. I think she keeps this fight standing, and I think she'll probably pick up a win here over Marina Moroz. Now, it's definitely very tough to put away Marina Moroz. She's been in there with some of the best of the best. Angela Hill wasn't able to finish her. Carla Esparza wasn't able to finish her. Valerie Letourneau wasn't able to finish her as well. So it's definitely, again, hard to get her out of there. I'm going to go with the Madame Fiorot decision win. I think she keeps this fight standing, and she wins this fight, again, with her stand-up game. Next up, we've got the former Cage Warriors champion and Mason Jones making his return to the octagon, taking on Alan Patrick. Gonna start first here with Mason Jones. So his first fight in the UFC and his only fight in the UFC. Tremendous fight. It's a loss to Mike Davis, but it's one of those fights where both guys' stock did rise. And Mason Jones had a very impressive performance in that one against Mike Davis. Hey, Tapology ranks it the second best fight of the year. I think it was. I mean, yeah, maybe behind Holloway and Cater, but you could make the case that Davis versus Jones was an incredible fight. And yeah, Mason Jones unfortunately did lose it, but still an impressive performance out of him. Before that, he won the Cage Warriors Championship, where he defended the Cage Warriors Championship over Adam Proctor. He also, he defended a couple times over there. He was the double champion on the lightweight and the welterweight championship over there. And now, of course, his fight with Alan Patrick will be at welterweight. The Mike Davis fight was at 155. And what do we see out of that fight of Mason Jones? Well, stand-up game, very good. He can really stand with some of the best in the UFC. And now Mike Davis isn't one of these elite level strikers, but a pretty good striker in his own right, and Jones was able to really stand there and bang with them. Took a lot of good punches, delivered a lot back to Mike Davis as well. Now, the third round did come, and yes, Mason Jones did start to fade a little bit, but the amount of output he was throwing in that one, yeah, I mean, you can expect he is going to get a little bit tired in that fight, but all around, man, Mason Jones, he can get you with the submissions, he can get you on the feet by TKO as well. Just a very good, I think I said this in the Mike Davis fight, just such a good all-around fighter and such a really good, really well-balanced fighter as well. Again, he can get finishes on the ground, on the feet, wherever the fight does take place. Mason Jones coming to this fight with a record of 10-1. Again, that only loss coming to Mike Davis. Let's talk about his opponent, though, in Alan Patrick. And Alan Patrick's last fight in the UFC was a loss to Bobby Green. He lost that fight by decision. Before that, he lost to Scott Holtzman by TKO as well. For that, he beat Damir Hazovic by unanimous decision, beat Stevie Ray, beat Damon Brown. And yeah, he started in the UFC at UFC Fight Night 29 in 2013. Damian Maia versus Jake Shields. Remember that card, Jake Shields with the split decision win over Damian Maia in the main event of that one. So that just shows you how long Alan Patrick really has been with the promotion. Now, he has not gotten to finish yet, or since the UFC debut, has not gotten to finish in the promotion. It was a TKO finish back in 2013. And Alan Patrick, one of these guys, pretty good on the feet, not bad on the ground as well. Coming into this fight, the record of 15 wins and 3 losses, but it's been the inactivity for Alan Patrick, which has really been killing him. Again, before the Bobby Green fight, his first fight before that was UFC 229, Khabib McGregor. It's just been the inactivity for Alan Patrick, which is very hard to, make me want to pick him in this one. I don't think Alan Patrick's going to win this fight all around. Mason Jones is just the better fighter. He's younger as well. Alan Patrick is 37 years of age. It's very tough to pick him, especially at 155. Being 37 years old at lightweight is very tough, and Mason Jones is going to pick up the win in this one. The younger fighter, he's 26 years old. He's 11 years younger than Alan Patrick. Mason Jones is going to pick up the win in this one. Do I think he gets a finish of Alan Patrick? Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll get a TKO win here. I'm going to go in the second round for Mason Jones. Now we've got the two veterans, I guess, fighting Francisco Trinaldo and Muslim Salikhov. All right, Salikhov is 36 years of age. Trinaldo is 42. These are some very, and I mean very old welterweights, but it should make for a pretty fun fight. We're going to start first here with Muslim Salikhov. Last fight was a win over Lizio Zaleski dos Santos on UFC 251. It was a split decision win. Before that, he beat Laureano Staropoli. Before that, beat Nordine Taleb. Beat Ricky Rainey. Before that was his only loss so far in his professional career. In his UFC career, he lost once before 2012, but it was a loss to Alex Garcia by rear naked choke on the Bisping versus Gaston card over there in Shanghai, China. It was his UFC debut, and he did lose that one, but since then, he has been on a 4-fight winning streak. 2 of them was a win by KO, of course, the Rainey and Taleb fights, and the Staropoli was a decision win, and the Zaleski dos Santos fight was a win by split decision. Salikhov coming to this fight, though, with a record of 17 wins and 2 losses. It is the stand-up game, of course, where Salikhov is at his best. Tremendous striker, tremendous kickboxing out of him. Now, his sambo is not bad as well, but it's primarily going to be the striking that Salikhov is going to get you with. He throws a lot of spinning stuff, and it always makes for fun fights. And the Lizio Zaleski dos Santos fight on paper was supposed to be one of the best fights of the night. Was it? I mean, it was an all right fight, but Salikhov is always going to throw just crazy damn strikes, a lot of spinning stuff, a lot of fun kicks in there as well. So that's Muslim Salikhov coming to this fight with a record of 17-2. Let's talk about his opponent, and Francisco Trinaldo. Trinaldo. So Trinaldo is moving up to welterweight for the first time in his career, or it's definitely been a while. I believe it's the first time in his career, fighting at welterweight at the age of 42. Yeah, I mean, just a little bit concerning. He's 42 years old, finally making his way to welterweight. I mean, it's gonna be weird because Trinaldo is on a 3-fight winning streak. It should be 5, and okay, I'll just get right to it. He won the Alexander Hernandez fight. That fight was horrible. I mean, I don't think really anyone should have won, but that fight was in San Antonio, Texas. Dos Anjos, Edwards. I mean, the only reason Hernandez won that fight was because it was in San Antonio. It was in his hometown. You got 30-27 for 2 judges and a 29-28 win for Hernandez. Go watch that fight. I know if you're trying to piss away 15 minutes, it might be a good idea, but if you're really... Okay, it's just not a good fight. But if you want to watch it, go watch it. Francisco Trinaldo won that fight. And yeah, maybe he threw like 15 punches and Hernandez threw 7. But still, I thought he did enough to win that fight. It was just a dumb decision. But it's okay. So Trinaldo should be on that 5-fight winning streak. Before that, or his last fight was a win over Jai Herbert. That fight is probably most well known for the Dan Hardy stop the fight, yell at Herb Dean. And then before that, he beat John McDessie by unanimous decision. Beat Bobby Green before that. And then it was the Alexander Hernandez fight that just happened. And before that, it was a win over Evan Dunham by TKO, and before that was a loss to James Vick, a win over Jim Miller, a loss to Kevin Lee, and then a really big winning streak. I mean, big names on this winning streak: Paul Felder, the recently retired Paul Felder, Yancy Medeiros, Ross Pearson. I mean, a lot of good wins. It was about a 10-fight winning streak, and made his UFC debut all the way back at UFC 147. That would be that would be Vanderlei Silva versus Rich Franklin, number 2 at a catchweight of 190 pounds. Made his debut over there. He was on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. I believe it was season 1, all the way back in 2012 as well. And yeah, Trinaldo's been in the UFC for a very long time. He's fought the best of the best, guys such as Michael Chiesa, Paul Felder, Kevin Lee, Jim Miller, James Vick, I guess, Bobby Green, Alexander Hernandez. Just a lot of good fighters on the resume for Trinaldo. Coming into this fight with a record of 26 wins and 7 losses. He's got great stand-up and a great ground game as well. But as for my prediction, I'm going with Salikhov for 2 reasons. One, I think his stand-up game is better than Trinaldo. I think that's really where, that's the base. That's probably where he's going to win the fight. It's going to be on the feet. So that's reason number 1. Number 2 is that you got a guy in Trinaldo who, did miss weight in his last fight against Jai Herbert. The fight was at 155. He weighed in at 160, but he's going up to 170 for the first time in his career, and he's 42. That's just a little bit concerning. I can't take a guy who's moving up in weight classes for the first time, and he's over the age of 40. It's just tough to pick Trinaldo in this one. Again, even though he is on what I think should be a 5-fight winning streak, this fight's a lot closer than the odds do reflect. I'm going with Salikhov, though, to barely get the job done in this one. Do I think he puts away Trinaldo? No, because Trinaldo has never been TKO'd in his career, and if Salikhov's probably going to win this fight, it's going to be by TKO or decision. So I'm going to go with the Muslim Salikhov decision win this one. I think he gets the job done, but it should be a very close fight. We are back in the heavyweight division for Ilir Latifi and Tanner Boser. We're going to start first here with Ilir Latifi. I mean, his last fight was Derek Lewis, UFC 247, first time at heavyweight. You can make the case he won that fight. Very close fight. I mean, the judges' scorecards had it 29-28 across the board. You could definitely make the case that Ilir Latifi won that fight. I thought Derek Lewis won, but you could definitely make the case for Latifi. And hell, Derek Lewis is about to fight for the title in a couple months here. I'm just saying. Before that, for Latifi, it was his 205 run. It's just so much different. I mean, he lost to Volkan Oezdemir, he lost to Corey Anderson, he beat OSP, beat Tyson Pedro, lost to Ryan Bader, he beat Jan Vellante. I mean, again, it's at 205. It's a different game. And Ilir Latifi at heavyweight, I mean, how much did he weigh at heavyweight? I mean, you're looking at, he was a big guy at heavyweight for the Derek Lewis fight. He weighed in at 246.5 for a guy who used to fight 205. He was a big heavyweight. Now, it's concerning his 5'10 at heavyweight, but DC is like 5'8. I know he's a little bit taller than that, but he's about 5'8. I've seen him in person. Ilir Latifi is kind of a small heavyweight, but in size, he's a big guy. And his wrestling, if he's going to be Tanner Boser, he's going to have to take him down. I don't think he's going to be able to strike with Tanner Boser, obviously. But you saw in the Derek Lewis fight, he's taken him down, and he kept him down. And you may look at the records, and you may say, okay, 3-5 losing streak for Ilir Latifi. Now, Corey Anderson is a fight away from fighting for a world championship over at Bellator. Volkan Oezdemir has fought for a world title before, and Derek Lewis is one punch away, basically, from being the world heavyweight champion. I mean, you see where I'm coming from here? Latifi is a good fighter, and yes, his record might be 14-8, but I mean, look at some of these losses. Emmanuel Newton former Bellator champion. You got Gegard Mousasi, the current Bellator champion. Jan Blachowicz, the current UFC champion. Ryan Bader, the current Bellator heavyweight champion. Corey Anderson, again, about to fight for a title. Uzdemir, already, former title challenger, and then Derek Lewis about to fight for a title. Just look at the names that Latifi has lost to. He's not losing to bad opponents at all. Latifi's been fighting the best of the best. I mean, hell, yeah, he fought Emmanuel Newton outside of the UFC. His first fight was a main event spot on UFC on Fuel TV against Gegard in Sweden. I'm just saying, man, Latifi is a good fighter. Now, let's talk about his opponent, though, in Tanner Boser. And I was high on the Tanner Boser hype train. I really was, and I still kind of am. I mean, he should be Arlovski. Now, he didn't win that fight. I'm not saying that he won the decision. He did not, but he should. I mean, it was one of those fights he should have won. Now, hey, Andrei Arlovski is back again. He just picked up one over Chase Sherman, but you know what happened when he fought Tom Aspinall? Yeah, Tom Aspinall finished Andrei Arlovski. I'm not saying that I wanted Tanner Boser to go out there and submit Andrei Arlovski, but I was looking like I want it to be one of those fights for Tanner Boser. Coming out party, he beats the former UFC champion in Andrei Arlovski. Andrei Arlovski, kind of a gatekeeper into the top 15. He kind of is at this point, but that's how it is. I mean, Tanner Boser loses to Andrei Arlovski. Before that, he knocks out Rafael Pessoa. Isn't Pessoa on the suspension for 2 years for steroids? Okay. Before that, he beat Felipe Lins by KO. I mean, Felipe Lins, who is he going to fight again in the UFC? Maybe. I don't know. And then Tanner Boser, before that, loses to Cyril Bongame, came in there and beat him by decision over in Busan, South Korea. And then his first fight in the UFC, Tanner Boser, was a win over Daniel Spitz over in Boston, Massachusetts on the Reyes and Wyman card. Now, Tanner Boser, if he's going to win this fight, it's going to be by KO. I mean, it's that simple. The Canadian's he has to win this fight by TKO on the feet, or he's just got to dominate this one on the feet. Because yes, if Boser's able to stuff the takedowns of Latifi, there's no way Latifi's going to win this fight. Now, unless Latifi, just completely puts his head down and absolutely throws a big right and knocks out Tanner Boser, which is very tough to do because Boser has been in there with the best of them and he hasn't really been finished. Yeah, that's the only way Latifi's gonna win this fight is if he takes him down, works the clinch, and really just, I wouldn't say lays on Tanner Boser, but works on the ground a lot in this fight. So Boser, the game plan is simple. You gotta stuff a couple takedowns, and you're basically gonna win this fight. It's tough though, because again, nothing against Tanner Boser, but I gotta go back to it. Latifi's coming off of fights against OSP, Ryan Bader, Corey Anderson, Volkan Oezdemir, and Derek Lewis. Nothing against Tanner Boser, but it's just kind of a step down for Latifi. And with all that being said, I'm going Latifi, and I really like Latifi to win this fight. He's 3 takedowns away from winning this fight. It's that simple. Yes, and is Tanner Boser a big shot away, a big punch away from finishing this one? Yeah, he probably is as well, but I really like Latifi's wrestling. I think if something important is going to be how much is Latifi weighing coming into this fight, because that can play a big factor. If he's a little bit lower, who knows, but I think I would expect him to be around anywhere from 240 to 250, and if he comes in anywhere through that range, and his cardio's looking pretty good, I like Latifi to win this fight. Again, don't forget how this man was very close to beating Derek Lewis. The guy's about to fight for the world championship. He almost beat him in Houston. That was just a year ago. That was what, 15 months ago? I like Latifi to win this fight. He's going from Derek Lewis to Tanner Boser. Kind of the same fighter, if we're being honest with ourselves. Just Tanner Boser is just not as good of a version of Derek Lewis. Right? Derek Lewis is a better version of Tanner Boser. Now, they don't fight exactly the same, but I like Latifi to win this fight. I think he gets 3 takedowns, and I think that's how he wins this fight. I'm going through Latifi to win this one by decision. Now we've got Montana De La Rosa, and we have got Ariane Lipski. Going to start first in this one with Ariane Lipski. So her last fight was a loss to Antonina Shevchenko by TKO, and we saw Antonina Shevchenko her last fight absolutely dominated by Andrea Lee. Like, not even a competitive fight. But Lipski lost to Shevchenko in a fight that really wasn't competitive at all as well. I mean, Shevchenko just got her to the ground and just finished her by TKO. I mean, because the hype for Ariane Lipski was at its highest. Because, okay, she was the KSW flyweight champion, right? So she was the champion over there. Comes into the UFC, they give her JoJo Calderwood in her first fight. You're like, okay, crap, she's getting a top 5 fighter, top 10 fighter. She loses that one. Okay, fine. You turn around, you take on Molly McCann in Greenville, South Carolina. Fight that Ariane Lipski should probably win. She loses. Okay, well, back against the wall, you gotta win one. She beats Isabella De Padilla by decision. Okay, Lakovic Jacare, sure. Then she picks up a win over Luana Carolina and probably submission of the year. I mean, probably behind Habib, but still. Knee bars Luana Carolina. Tremendous finish. Figueiredo Benavides 2. you're like, oh my goodness, okay, the hype is back. Ariane Lipski's probably going to be Antonina Shevchenko. She does not. Just a completely dominant performance by Shevchenko over UFC 255. Of course, that was Figueiredo and Puelles. It's gonna, I mean, okay, this fight's really simple. Montana De La Rosa, good wrestler. Jiu-jitsu could be better. Ariane Lipski, good ground game, very good jiu-jitsu. Her wrestling, I mean, is all right, but her wrestling does not need to be good to win this fight. Now, on the feet, Ariane Lipski's a lot better than Montana De La Rosa. Montana De La Rosa's stand-up game is just not very good. I mean, we saw that in the Viviana Araujo fight. She's got dominated on the feet. Same with the Mayra Bueno Silva fight. Got a big black eye on that one as well. De La Rosa does struggle on the feet, but when she does use her wrestling well, and when she does shoot and she does get good, when she works well on top, then yeah, of course she's gonna win the fight. But Lipski sometimes is good off her back, so it's a little bit of a tough fight for Montana De La Rosa, but you can see there definitely are pathways to victory for her. Lipski coming to this fight record of 13-6. Let's talk about Montana De La Rosa now in full. And De La Rosa was gonna lose her last fight if, of course, Mayra Bueno Silva did not grab the fence in the first round, preventing a Montana De La Rosa takedown. So it was a majority draw on that one. Rozenstruik and gone. February of this year. Before that, from Montana De La Rosa, she lost to Viviana Araujo by unanimous decision. Before that, she beat Mara Romero Barella by unanimous decision. She lost to Andrea Lee before that, beat Nadia Kassem, beat Rachel Ostovich, and then before that, beat Christina Marks. De La Rosa, though, yeah, pretty solid fighter. I really just kind of already broke it down. Her ground game is good. Now, her jiu-jitsu is all right. It's definitely, though, going to be the wrestling. Primary wrestler in Montana De La Rosa. And yeah, her grappling is pretty solid as well. Now, will she be able to submit Ariane Lipski? I highly doubt it, but if she can use her control really well, and she does use top positioning well against Ariane Lipski, I think that's got to be her pathway to victory, because I don't really like this fight for Montana De La Rosa on the feet against Ariane Lipski. Now, it's not like Ariane Lipski is some tremendous finisher on the feet, but we have seen KSW, she can get the finishes on the feet. But call me crazy, I'm going Montana De La Rosa again. I don't know why. Okay, no, I do know why. I like her wrestling. I think Montana De La Rosa, again, I think she's going to win a decision in this one. Now, she's not going to submit Ariane Lipski, but De La Rosa, it's a very narrow path to victory, and I might be stretching her a little bit. I'm taking an upset pick right here. I think De La Rosa can just use her wrestling and just stay on top this entire fight. She's going to win. Not allow Ariane Lipski use any of her transitions on her back, not use any of her sweeps on her back, or not really just fight for any submissions off her back. If De La Rosa can stay out of all of those, she's got the pathway to win this fight. Now, again, she's got to be able to take her down, because if she doesn't take down Ariane Lipski, I think Lipski's probably going to finish her on the feet. I wouldn't say finish her, probably beat her on the feet, because Viviana Araujo couldn't finish De La Rosa on the feet, but it's going to be a tough fight for her if she can't get a takedown. Now, I think she's going to be able to get that takedown, though. That's why I'm going Montana De La Rosa. Again, call it a stretch pick, definitely, but I'm going with Montana De La Rosa to win this fight by decision. Now, we have got the UFC debut of Kamuela Kirk, and he's going to be fighting Makwan Amirkhani. Going to start first here with Kamuela Kirk. So, his last fight was a win over Daniel Swain. He won that fight in the second round. Before that, he picked up another win in LFA by KO. And before that, 2-fight losing streak. He loses on the Contender Series, gets his shot against Billy Quarantillo, loses that one by KO, and then after that, loses a fight to Bruno Souza by split decision. But again, most recently, those two wins. That last fight against Daniel Swain was a win less than a month ago. Just last month, the 14th, or this month actually, the 14th of May, just 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he's been pretty active, and he's going to take a really quick turnaround against a very good fighter in Makwan Amirkhani. So, now obviously this will be a tough fight for Kirk. I mean, I think it's going to be, but there's some pathways to victory for him. Well, there's one. Stand up, definitely. If he can beat him out, if he can keep this fight on the feet against Amirkhani, yeah, he can definitely outstrike him. And we know Makwan Amirkhani's ground game is very good. He's able to get submissions basically from any different position, but you did see the Edson Barbosa fight. Amirkhani did get dominated on the feet, and well, Edson Barbosa is looking like he's a couple fights away from a world championship opportunity. Hell, he sent Shane Burgos to the Ghost Realm, but I mean, Amirkhani got beat on the feet by Edson Barbosa. Kamuela Kirk, if he's going to win this one, he's got to keep this fight on the feet, and he's got to basically outstrike Makwan Amirkhani. Now, it's tough to say that he's going to do so, coming that, I mean, he did get beat on the feet, I wouldn't say pretty badly, but he did get beat on the feet by Billy Quarantillo, and that's not taking anything away from Billy Quarantillo, but Makwan Amirkhani, I would say, is a little bit on a higher level right now than Quarantillo. It's just a tough road for Kirk in this fight. That's Kamuela Kirk, though, coming into this fight with a record of 11-4. Let's talk about his opponent in Makwan Amirkhani. So Amirkhani, that last fight against Edson Barbosa was not great. I believe we have 30-26s on two judges' scorecards, and the other one, We got a 29-28 for Barbosa. I don't know how you gave Amirkhani a round in that one, but he got dominated in that fight against Edson Barbosa. Before that, he picked up a win over Danny Henry. He submitted him with an Anaconda choke. UFC 251, Usman Masvidal #1. Before that, he lost to Shane Burgos by TKO, UFC 244. Before that, beat Chris Fishgold, beat Jason Knight, lost to the undefeated Arnold Allen. And he made his UFC debut back in 2015 on the Rumble Johnson Alexander Gustafsson card. On that card, he won by TKO, flying knee about 8 seconds into that one. Really quick knockout, picks up the win and got up on out of there. One of the fastest finishes, by the way, in UFC history. Amirkhani, though, coming in this fight with a record of 16 wins and 5 losses. Now, I just did talk about how he got that tremendous finish. Ran across the octagon. I believe it was landed the flying knee and then finished him up against the fence. But I mean, he's known for the ground game, obviously. Amirkhani's going to win this fight. Now, he does have the potential to finish Kirk on the feet, but I just don't see it. I think he's probably going to take down Kirk, and he's probably going to get the job done down there. I might have given it away earlier, but I think Makwan Amirkhani is going to take Kirk down. I think he's going to be able to get a submission in this one and move on to a record of 17-5 on the pro career. I mean, we've seen Amirkhani 11 pro submissions to date. Kirk, solid future, but I think right now is still Makwan Amirkhani's time. I think gets the job done by submission. Now we have got Antonio Arroyo and Tom Breese. We will start first here with the Brazilian and Antonio Arroyo. The last fight was a loss to Duran Win by unanimous decision. Duran Win uses wrestling pretty well, looked pretty good in that fight. It was at a catch weight of 195, so what the hell, but still, good win for Duran Win there. And then before that, for Antonio Arroyo, loses to Andre Muniz, but now that loss is just not bad at all, because Andre Muniz just broke Jacare's arm. Just, that happened, right? What the hell? Before that, for Arroyo, picks up a win over on the Contender Series, 2 of them. And yeah, that's currently his UFC run. 0-2, probably needs this win to stay in the promotion. He's been booked with a lot of different guys. I mean, you got the Kevin Hollands of the world, Lyseo Chichirikos, you got Michaelitis, you got Trevin Giles as well, Eric Anders, now finally settling on Tom Breese. Arroyo is 9-4 on the pro career. Solid stand-up game, solid ground game as well if he's going to beat Tom Breese. I don't know. It's probably going to be on the feet too, because Tom Breese is kind of a replica and kind of a better version of Antonio Arroyo. I mean, he can do everything Arroyo can do on the ground, and he can do whatever Arroyo can basically do on the feet as well. I just don't like this matchup at all for Antonio Arroyo. I mean, again, that might give away the pick on this one, but I just don't see where he has the clear advantage. He just doesn't. Like, unless Tom Breese just massively F's up in this fight, I just don't see a large pathway for victory for Antonio Arroyo. So that's Arroyo, correct him 9-4. Let's talk about his opponent here in the Brit, in Tom Breese. And yeah, Breese lost his last fight to Omari Akhmedov. Don't know how the odds were about even on that one. It was like easy Omari Akhmedov win. Yeah, won by arm triangle, Chiesa Magni over there in Abu Dhabi. Before that, Tom Breese beat KB Bowler, and KB Bowler, maybe one of the worst UFC fighters in a while. I mean, the Marcus Mariano guy wasn't great either. KB Bowler was just shadow boxing his first 2 fights in the UFC. Lost to Michaelitis most recently. He's probably done in the promotion. Yeah, so, I mean, Tom Breese looked good in that fight. For the record, I picked KB Bowler. It was a pure upset pick, all right. Hey, I thought Bowler was going to stun him on the feet. Didn't happen. Probably shouldn't have made that pick, but, I mean, whatever. Tom Breese got the job done. Before that, he lost to Brendan Allen, beats Dan Kelly before that, and then beats the number 10 ranked, or loses to the number 10 ranked currently fighter, and Sean Strickland, and then before that beat Keita Nakamura, and made his UFC debut over in 2015 in Brazil on Carlos Condit versus Thiago Alves. So, I mean, he's been around for a while in Tom Breese. Current record of 12 wins and 3 losses. Like I said earlier, though, I don't know where Antonio Arroyo has the advantage in this one. Because again, Tom Breese is good on the feet, he's good on the ground as well. I don't know where Arroyo has the clear advantage, and I don't know where Arroyo wins that fight. So, that all being said, Tom Breese is winning this fight. Wherever this fight goes, Tom Breese will have the pure advantage. So, where will this fight take place? It's probably going to be a stand-up fight. I think Arroyo will probably try to take this one on the ground. Tom Breese might be able to stuff a couple takedowns in this one. Keep it on the feet. Wherever Arroyo does not want this fight to be, I think that's where Tom Breese is going to take this fight. So that being said, I think Tom Breese wins this one. I think he gets it done by TKO. I think he gets it done on the feet. If he has to get the TKO on the ground too, he could. So that's why it's a safe bet right there. TKO for Tom Breese. Really like that one. I think he gets the job done. I'm not going to pick around it. Just TKO for the Brit. Now we have got Gregory Rodrigues and Dusko Todorovic. Gonna start first here with Rodrigues. His last fight was a win. It was the finale of the LFA 4-man tournament for the middleweight championship. He won that fight by KO in the first round, so good for him. He went back-to-back wins by KO to pick up that LFA middleweight championship. Of course, that title is now vacant again. I mean, just won that championship last weekend, getting the short notice call to take on a good fighter in Dusko Todorovic. Rodrigues' shot on the Contender Series didn't end well for him. He got KO'd by Jordan Williams in the first round. 2 minutes into that one, he did get TKO'd. Current record for Rodrigues, though, of 9-3. It's going to be the stand-up game most recently where Rodrigues has won his fights, but don't forget he does have a pretty good ground game as well. Now, against Dusko Todorovic, you don't know where this one is really going to take place. I mean, obviously, Todorovic is probably going to want this one on the feet, but if Rodrigues wants to take this one to the ground, I think the opportunity is there for him as well. So it makes for a pretty interesting fight here. Again, with Rodrigues, just won the LFA Championship just last week, so he's been very active. But let's talk about his opponent here, Dusko Todorovic. And you may be down on the former undefeated fighter, but I mean, you're losing to Punahele Soriano by KO, UFC on ABC 1. It was a tough fight for him. Someone's had got to go, and yeah, we did pick Punahele Soriano to get the job done in that one, but Todorovic lost that fight. I mean, still, he's a very good fighter. He was 1-0 in the UFC beforehand. I mean, beat Taquan Townsend, okay. I mean, not the greatest win. I mean, of course, a win's a win, but Taquan Townsend, not the greatest UFC fighter. But Todorovic before that was 1-0 and then picked up a win over Teddy Ash on the Contender Series as well. Todorovic, tremendous striker, and again, he did get knocked out by Punahele Soriano, but a lot of guys in that division, I'm gonna keep it real, are getting knocked out by Soriano. This fight for Dusko Todorovic was supposed to be Maki Pitolo. Would have been an interesting fight, really, on the feet, where those guys probably would have traded a lot. Now, Rodrigues is a different fight because there is the threat of the takedown, and Maki Pitolo's ground game is not very good compared to Rodrigues, who does have a pretty good ground game. So I wouldn't say it's it might be a tougher fight for Todorovic. It just depends on how he does play this one out. Now, I'm going to take Dusko Todorovic to win this one. I'm not going to take Rodrigues on a very short notice. I think Todorovic will probably get the job done here. Will probably get it done on the feet. I don't think Rodrigues is going to be able to take Todorovic down. I think Dusko keeps this one on the feet. He'll probably beat Rodrigues in this one. I think he gets it done by decision to improve to a record of 2-1 in the UFC. Next up, we have got Miguel Baeza taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. We're going to start first here with the undefeated fighter in Miguel Baeza, currently 10-0 in his last win. Big win over Takashi Sato by arm triangle choke. Now, Baeza had the unfortunate, timing. He was fighting at the same exact time Tyson was fighting Roy Jones Jr. And yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't watch this fight live. Now, of course, I did go back and rewatch it. And Baeza did pretty impressive performance in that one. It won that one by arm triangle against a good opponent in Sato. But his first fight in the UFC was a win over Hector Aldana. Won that one by TKO. And the second fight, probably the fight he's most known for, is the win over Matt Brown. TKO finish over Reem Harris over in Jacksonville, Florida. He could have probably put him away at the end of the first round, but again, he put him away very early into the second, and he's 3-0 in the UFC. Is Baeza. His first fight, or he did win in the Contender Series as well against Victor Reina by decision to get into the Ultimate Proving Ground. Baeza fighting out of a pretty good camp over there in MMA Masters. One of his main training partners is Colby Chaos Covington, probably who's next for the welterweight championship, or just maybe, I don't know. Usman doesn't want to fight him. I don't know. He wants to fight Michael Chiesa. It's just crazy. But Baeza training with Colby Covington, training with some good partners over there. Maybe, is Mike Perry still there? Who knows Mike Perry? But Baeza, good training partners with Colby Covington. And again, 10-0 in this one. The stand-up game is incredible from Baeza. You saw that in the Matt Brown fight. You saw that in the Aldana fight. Really worked the leg kicks in the Aldana fight. In the Sato fight, you saw he can get the job done on the ground as well. Just a very well-balanced fighter in Miguel Baeza. But he's taking on a guy here in Santiago Ponzinibbio who is coming off a loss, but man, is he still impressive. So Baeza in this one, if he's going to win this one, it'll probably be on the feet because Ponzinibbio's ground game is pretty underrated. Nonetheless, this should be a war on the feet. It should be. Someone is probably getting TKO'd. Who is it going to be? I do not know, but that's Miguel Baeza. Let's talk about his opponent here in Santiago Ponzinibbio. And Ponzinibbio, man, I picked him to beat Li Jingliang, but he loses that one by KO. And he was off for 3 years, so there's going to be some ring rust, but holy crap, I did not think Ponzinibbio was going to lose that fight. I just didn't think it was going to happen. Because, look at the winning streak he was on before the Li Jingliang fight. It's wins over Court McGee, Zach Cummings, Nordine Taleb, Gunnar Nelson, Mike Perry, Neil Magny in a main event over there in his hometown in Argentina. I just didn't think Ponzinibbio was going to lose that one. Now, he is 34, and the time away does really hurt him, and he's got one fight back. It does take you some time to get your footing back in the octagon, but they're giving him a guy here, Miguel Baeza, undefeated fighter. He's got all the confidence in the world. It's a tough second fight in the return for Ponzinibbio. We will see, man. We will see. This is a tough one for him. Record of 27-4 for Ponzinibbio. The losses are to Li Jingliang. It's a Lorenz Larkin loss back in Hollywood, Florida, and then it's a Ryan LaFleur loss over there in his UFC debut, and then before that, it's a loss all the way back in 2011. Ponzinibbio was probably going to win the Ultimate Fighter before he broke his hand. Ultimate Fighter Brazil season, but yeah, just tremendous striking out of Ponzinibbio. We don't really see the grappling as much. He hasn't gotten a submission win since 2012, but it is there in his back pocket. Now, this fight is not hitting the mat. It is going to be a war on the feet. If you're looking for a fight of the night, this might be it. I mean, this is going to be a good fight, man. There's so many different outcomes that could possibly happen in this one. Well, actually, there's two. I mean, there's three. Baeza wins by knockout, Ponzinibbio wins by knockout, or goes to a decision, and it's an absolute war, and both guys are trading shots for 15 minutes. I said it earlier, the people's main event, I wouldn't be against this being the actual main event because I do not think Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Augusto Sakai is going 5 rounds. I'll just be straight up with you. I don't think that fight's going 5 rounds, so I don't really think that needs a 5-round limit. I think this potentially might, but we could be looking at a first-round knockout either way right here. It's difficult to pick because you look at Ponzinibbio's last fight, it's a KO loss in the first round. We really haven't seen Ponzinibbio. I mean, just couldn't get going in that fight against Li Jingliang. And you're looking at Baeza, yeah, 3-0 so far in the UFC, looking like an absolute monster. So with all that being said, we are going Miguel Baeza and invest on Baeza right now. Get on the hype train early. If he beats Ponzinibbio, he is only seeing top 15 fighters from here on out. He is going to be seeing the elite of the weight class. He's going to be seeing the top 170 pounders you can possibly fight. I mean, hell, you're looking at like some Damian Maias. I mean, you're looking at some good veteran fighters Miguel Baeza will be fighting from here on out. But I think he's going to beat Santiago Ponzinibbio on this one. I just think he's going to. If I saw Li Jingliang crack Ponzinibbio in his first fight since his return, I think the 3-year layoff does do a big difference in this one. If Ponzinibbio is healthy all the way through, yeah, I think he probably would beat Baeza in this one. But Baeza has been looking good in the past, and Ponzinibbio has fought once in the last 3 years, and he got knocked down the first round. And he's taking this fight about 5 months after getting knocked out by Li Jingliang. I'm going with Baeza again, man. I think Baeza gets the job done. I think he gets a knockout. I'm going first round KO for Miguel Baeza. Yeah, I know I was saying let's give this the main event. It might need 5 rounds. Yeah, it might. It honestly might. If Ponzinibbio can take everything Baeza's given him, if Baeza can take everything Ponzinibbio's giving him, these two are gonna trade for 15 minutes. And yeah, maybe that's when you do need that 25-minute. You do need all those 5 rounds, but I say Baeza tags him early. I think he finds the sweet spot, and I think Baeza will put down Santiago Ponzinibbio in the first round by KO. Now we've got Roman Dolidze taking on Laureano Staropoli. We're going to start first here with Staropoli. His last fight was a loss, and it was to Tim Means. The Dirty Bird beat him by unanimous decision over on Lewis and Olenek. Staropoli did miss weight on that fight. But then before that, he did lose to Muslim Salikhov. By the way, this fight is at 185. So Dolidze coming back down to 185 again. We're going to get to him, though, in a second. But Staropoli's last fight was at 170. It was eventually a catch weight at 175 because he didn't make weight in the Tim Means fight. So there's that. Staropoli's coming up. Dolidze, I still would say, is in the process of going down, and I still don't get that move. He looked really good at 205. But Staropoli, before the Tim Means fight, lost to Muslim Salikhov. Before that, beat Thiago Alves, and before that, beat Hector Aldana. So currently, Staropoli is 2-2 in the UFC. All 4 of those fights that he's had so far are by decision. Staropoli, pretty good stand-up kid, but you did see in the Tim Means fight, he just got outstruck in that one. And Tim Means did his job well in that one. Final scorecards for that fight, you got 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28, all for the Dirty Bird in Tim Means. And for the fight against Muslim Salikhov for Staropoli, you got 30-26s on 2 scorecards, and then 29-28, again, all for Salikhov. Yeah, Staropoli, it's going to be a tough task for him to beat Dolidze in this one. Now, again, Dolidze didn't look great in the Trevin Giles fight. He did get tired towards the end of that one, and same thing goes in the John Allen fight. But Staropoli, I mean, okay, Dolidze's striking is all right. His ground game is very good. Staropoli's going to have trouble with the wrestling of Roman Dolidze. I'm going to keep it real with you. Dolidze's probably going to come in there. He's probably going to out-wrestle Staropoli for 3 rounds. But it just depends on if Dolidze can keep his cardio up for 3 rounds. Now, the cut to 185 does not help his cardio. And if Staropoli can take advantage in the 3rd round, maybe he can look for a finish in the 3rd round, even if he did lose those first 2 against Dolidze, considering that Dolidze is probably going to be looking to wrestling a lot in the 1st and 2nd rounds. And that might tire out Dolidze, but I just don't know. I think Dolidze all around is probably the better fighter. And let's now talk more about Roman Dolidze. So the last fight against Trevin Giles, again, it didn't look great. He just tired out towards the end of that fight. If you're looking at the final scorecards on that fight, you've got Trevin Giles 29-28 across the board. Dolidze looked good early, but again, faded at the end. The John Allen fight, I don't know how that was a split decision. I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious. Roman Dolidze won that one. You got 30-27 and a 29-28 for Dolidze. You got 29-28 for John Allen. Probably Chris Lee, but who knows? And then before that, his UFC debut was a winner for Hadias Ibrahimov. Again, Ibrahimov, not a great UFC fighter, but yeah, Dolidze caught him with a knee and then put him away in the 1st round. Roman Dolidze is going to win this fight. He's going to. Now, I say what you want about his cardio, and yeah, does he fade towards the end of the fights? Yeah, he probably does, and, you know, he definitely does. But I think Dolidze is going to win the first and second rounds, and I think that's really all he's going to need. I don't think he's going to get finished by Staropoli in the third, so maybe he will drop that third round, but I do like Dolidze to win the first rounds in this one. I like the wrestling out of Dolidze, and if he has to go on the feet against Loriano Staropoli, I like that as well. Dolidze's got a lot of power. Now, he might not be the most technical fighter, might not be the most technical striker, but he does throw a lot of power into his shots, and that again does attribute to him getting tired towards the latter end of his fights. But still, I like Dolidze to get the job done in this one, be it maybe on the feet throwing a lot of power or on the ground as well. I'm going with Roman Dolidze to win by decision. It is the safe choice. Again, I think he wins rounds 1 and 2, and that's all he will really need. Depending on what happens in the third round, I don't think really matters, considering Dolidze is going to get the job done, and I don't think Staropoli can finish him in that third round. So I'm going with Dolidze to win this one by decision. Now we've got 2 top 15 heavyweights in Marcin Tybura and Walt Harris. We will start first here with Walt Harris. So currently Harris is on a 2-fight losing streak, but I mean the fighters they've been giving him, I mean it's pretty tough. You got a loss to Alistair Overeem, and you got a loss to Alexander Volkov as well. I mean, again, those 2 guys fought, Volkov won. I mean, those are just 2 tough fights back to back. Before that, I mean, he beat Alexei Oleinik, beat Sergey Spivak as well, beat Andrei Arlovski, but then fight got overturned. Weird situation over there. What I'm getting to is Walt Harris, tremendous fighter. He fights the best of the best. He's fighting the best guys you could possibly fight, and I mean, he had a loss to Fabricio Verdum. He had a fight against Shamil Abdurmakimov. I mean, just some very good fighters he has been fighting over the past. And yeah, you might be down Walt Harris because of the last 2 fights, but Overeem and Volkov are tough fighters, and they're very good stand-up fighters. Now, against Marcin Tybura, it's a different fight because odds on Marcin Tybura is not going to want to stand there and trade with Walt Harris. I don't think that's what he's going to do. I mean, because Harris in the last 2 fights, he's fighting as an Overeem and Volkov, and yeah, he did knock down Overeem, and he almost had him in the first round, and they're fighting Jacksonville. But I mean, Alexander Volkov might be one of the better strikers at heavyweight right now. Definitely top 5. I mean, he's up there. Volkov's a very good striker. He's a very tough fighter to fight just considering how tall he really is and his reach advantage he does have on a lot of guys. So Walt Harris in this one is going to be the better striker in this one. It's going to be, though, can he stuff the takedowns of Marcin Tybura? And Tybura, yes, very underrated striking. You saw that in the Greg Hardy fight. You saw that in the Ben Rothwell fight. But Tybura, for the most part, in this fight, will not really want to stand with Walt Harris. He's going to try to take him down. He's going to try to finish him on the ground, sort of like what Alistair Overeem did. Now, I know Overeem did knock down Walt Harris, but still, he finished him on the ground with strikes. So that's what Tybura is going to look to do in this one. Will he be able to get the job done? Maybe, but don't sleep on Harris in this one. Don't. Because, again, for the first time in his last 2 fights, he's fighting a guy who's looking to take him down, actively trying to take him down. Because if you look at the 2 fights before the Overeem and Volkov fights, it's a fight against Alexei Oleinik where he wins in 12 seconds. I know that fight did not last long, but it's just different for Walt Harris when he knows he's the better striker in that fight. He knows he's a better striker than Alexei Oleinik, and he knows, hey, this guy's going to probably try to take me down. So he just went for it. I mean, he ran across the octagon, KO'd Alexei Oleinik in 12 seconds. And then before that, the Sergey Spivak fight, again, fight only lasted 50 seconds. It was Iaquinta Cowboy, but he knew in that fight, okay, Sergey Spivak's probably going to try to take him down. Sergey Spivak's probably going to try to drown him on the ground. And again, Spivak's going to fight Alexei Oleinik, I think, in a couple weeks. But Harris knew that going into that fight, and he just went for it quickly, and he got the job done, and he beat Sergey Spivak. So it's a different narrative in this fight for Walt Harris. Again, he's the better striker in this one, but now on the ground, definitely Marcin Tybura is a better wrestler. So that's Walt Harris coming into this fight with a record of 13-9. Let's talk about his opponent here in Marcin Tybura. And Marcin Tybura, yeah, the last fight was a win over Greg Hardy. I picked Tybura to win that one. Don't know why the odds were even, because Marcin Tybura is a damn good fighter, man. I mean, what is he in the rankings? Number 8? He's pretty high up there. Yeah, okay, number 11. I don't know why he's that low. Tybura is a very good fighter, guys. And yeah, he might not be the most, like, entertaining fighter to watch, because yeah, he does have some boring fights sometimes, but when he goes for it, yeah, he's a fun fighter to watch. Greg Hardy, yeah, good win. Ben Rothwell, a lot of people hated that fight. I actually kind of liked it. I thought it was a solid fight. Ben Rothwell is always in entertaining fights. Ben Rothwell just won his last fight. Rothwell's looking pretty damn good. Tybura's looking good as well. Hey, maybe 2 top 15 heavyweights going at it. Yeah, I do still consider Ben Rothwell a top 15 heavyweight. I still think he's very good. I think he's very underrated still. Will Rothwell make a run for a title? Probably not, but maybe could bust in to the top 10 of the weight class. But Tybura, the wins over Rothwell, the wins over Hardy, the win over Maxime Grishin. Yeah, Grishin took that on sort of short notice, and Grishin was up a weight class, but still decision win for Tybura. And before that, the win over Sergey Spivak just showed why he's basically a better version of Sergey Spivak. Kind of disrespectful, but it was kind of true. And before that for Tybura, he did go on a 2-fight losing streak to the fighter fighting in the main event, of course, Augusto Sakai. And before that, lost to Shamil Abdurakhimov. Before that, he beat Stefan Struve by decision, lost to Derek Lewis, lost to Fabricio Verdum, beat Andrei Arlovski. And yeah, that's basically been the run so far for Marcin Tybura. Yeah, it's pretty obvious how Tybura is, if he's going to win this fight, how he's going to do it. It's going to be the ground game. He's got to take down Walt Harris in this one. Now, I do think that Tybura's striking has evolved to be pretty good. It's not on par with his ground game, of course, just yet, and it's with his wrestling, but it's gotten a lot better. And Tybura, I mean, I would say an underrated striker. You saw that in the Greg Hardy fight. How is Greg Hardy going to beat Marcin Tybura? Okay, probably going to knock him out. Yeah, and yes, Tybura did use his wrestling in that one, but that fight got back to the feet. He put away Greg Hardy. I mean, don't sleep on Tybura's stand-up game. Don't. But Walt Harris, again, should have the advantage on the feet. So it's just, can Tybura use his wrestling to set up his strikes? I think he's going to be able to. I think Tybura's going to probably take down Walt Harris early in this fight, and then eventually I think he's going to be able to work him pretty well on the feet, use his striking, and then again go back to the ground game. That's what Marcin Tybura will do. He'll use his wrestling, take a guy down, bring him back up, use his striking really well, and then take him back down again. It's rinse and repeat, and that's why I like Marcin Tybura to win this fight and go on a 5-fight winning streak in the UFC and enter probably the top 8 of the weight class, top 7 of the weight class. Don't look now, but Marcin Tybura, I wouldn't say he's on a title run, but he's looking to be one of these guys in the top 10 that is a very solid fighter. So I'm going with Marcin Tybura to get the win in this one. I think he wins it by decision. And will it be one of those boring classic Marcin Tybura fights? Maybe, but I really think he's going to use a takedown early in this fight, get the fight back up to the feet, make Walt Harris worry about a takedown, use his striking, and then go back to the takedown again. I like Marcin Tybura winning this fight. I think he gets it done by decision. So it's time for the main event of the evening. We have got Augusto Sakai and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Now, it's not the best main event, don't get me wrong, but this card overall, pretty damn solid. A lot of good fighters to watch out for in this one. Now, a lot of them are coming off losses, if we are being honest. I don't know if anyone picked up on that trend, but a lot of them are. But Augusto Sakai, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, two guys, again, who are coming off losses, two guys who are in the top 10 of the weight class. It is number 6 in Jairzinho Rozenstruik and number 9 in Augusto Sakai, looking to pick up a win here. Winner's trying to, I mean, if Rozenstruik wins, probably stays put at number 6. If Augusto Sakai wins, he's going to number 6 in the weight class as well. So it's an interesting fight. It is. Is it a styles fight? No, it is not, because this is going to be a striking fight. It's going to be who's the better striker, right? I mean, you saw in the Alistair Overeem fight with Augusto Sakai. We're going to start with Augusto Sakai, obviously. But you saw in that fight, Overeem worked well on the feet and eventually got him to the ground and put him away on the ground. Augusto Sakai's his grappling in that fight kind of got exposed, but for the most part, it was his stamina and his cardio that got exposed in that fight. You knew that, I mean, eventually in that fight, you knew that Alistair Overeem was eventually going to put him away, just because of how Augusto Sakai was starting to tire towards the end of that one, and eventually, again, our guy in Alistair Overeem put him away, got that fight right back, I believe in September was that fight. It was a while ago. Yeah, September 5th of 2020. But before that, for Augusto Sakai, man, a big winning streak. After losing to Czech Congo over in Bellator, he goes on to the Contender Series, picks up a win, then beats Chase Sherman, beats Andrei Arlovski by split decision, beats Marcin Tybura, knocks him out in the first round 60 seconds into their fight in Vancouver, and then beats Blagoy Ivanov by split decision over on Woodley and Burns. And yeah, did he grab the fence in that one? Definitely, but hell, they gave him the win in that one. Barely won it by split decision. So Augusto Sakai wasn't supposed to be in this fight against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. It was originally supposed to be Shamil Abdurakhimov, but short notice fight for Sakai. I mean, not really that short notice. He took this fight like a month ago, but still, he's fighting Rozenstruik in this one. It's an interesting fight. It's two guys in the weight class who Sakai, I mean, 30 years old, Rozenstruik 33, some two veterans of the sport. Two guys who, yeah, they are a couple fights away from the title, just considering they have lost their last fight. And it's weird that Sakai is coming into this main event spot, considering he just lost to Alistair Overeem, and Overeem now out the UFC, and Rozenstruik really didn't do anything in the Cyril Gane fight, and he just gets another main event spot. It's a weird matchup, guys. It really is. Now, it's a 5-round fight again, so that does concern you if you are, I guess, a Augusto Sakai fan. If you're a Sakai fan, you got to be worried that Jairzinho Rozenstruik in the later ends of this fight does have the advantage, because you did see in the Rozenstruik and Overeem fight, any point in this fight, Rozenstruik can land that one punch, right? Overeem was beating him for 24 minutes. Last second of the fight, Rozenstruik lands that big bomb, puts away Alistair Overeem. So you know Rozenstruik. Now, he didn't do much in the 5th round of the Gane fight, but you know he has it in the 5th round. I don't know if Augusto Sakai has that, because in the 5th round, the 4th rounds of his fight against Overeem, he did not look good. So that's Augusto Sakai coming into this fight with the record of 15 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. Let's talk about his opponent here, and Biggie Boy, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Okay, yeah, I'm taking Rozenstruik by KO. Reason, there's levels to this game. I mean, I really don't see how Augusto Sakai wins this one. This is very heavily favored toward Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I think Rozenstruik is just the better striker. This fight will not end up on the ground. It's not. This is going to be a kickboxing fight. Rozenstruik's been in there with the best of the best. Okay, consider who Rozenstruik has lost to in his career, guys. Francis Ngannou's the world champion. Ciryl Gane's a fight away from fighting for the championship. Augusto Sakai lost to Alistair Overeem, an old Alistair Overeem, and Cheick Kongo, who's like 46 and still going, right? I mean, hell, Cheick Kongo's, I guess, a fight away from fighting for a championship in Bellator. Potentially, oh my goodness, are we going to see a Tim Johnson and Cheick Kongo trilogy fight, potentially for the title? It depends if Tim Johnson wins the interim championship over there in Bellator, but that could be a thing. I don't know, but just think about it. Rozenstruik's lost to the best at heavyweight. And he looked good in the JDS fight. Now, given what is JDS now? What is a 37-year-old JDS without a chin? Yeah, it's kind of sad to see how he's gone off. But still, Rozenstruik can get the job done. And again, he did not look good in the Ciryl Gane fight. He didn't do anything in the Ciryl Gane fight. And Bongame did what he had to do to win that fight. But there are levels to this game. Rozenstruik, there's a big difference in the heavyweight division from number 6 down. You want to look at the fighters. It's Ngannou, Miocic, Lewis, Gane, Blades, Volkov, Rozenstruik, and I'll add John Jones to that list, obviously. And then there's a big drop-off. And there's no disrespect to these guys, but there just is. Abdurakhimov, Harris, Sakai, Dawkins, Ivanov, Tybura, Ospinal, Alexei Olenek, and Sergey. There's kind of a drop-off there. And yeah, there are some good fighters who, I'm big on Chris Dawkins, I'm big on Tom Ospinal, I am actually pretty big on Marcin Tybura, not in the rankings yet. I am still big on Ben Rothwell as well, but there's a big drop-off there. Jairzinho Rozenstruik's better than Augusto Sakai. It's not like Sakai's gonna go in there, he's gonna submit him. That's not happening. Jairzinho Rozenstruik's gonna go in there and he's gonna knock out Augusto Sakai probably in the first round. I don't think this fight's all that competitive. I think Rozenstruik's gonna knock him out pretty early. Sorry if that was an anticlimactic end to this video, but that's really how I see it. I don't see a path to victory for Sakai. Yeah, he could maybe land a bomb here or there, but Rozenstruik's got the edge early on in this fight when it comes to power, obviously. And if this fight goes to the 3rd and 4th round, that's Rozenstruik for days as well, because I know Rozenstruik, again, he didn't do anything in the latter rounds of the fights, the fight with Ciryl Gane, but you saw in the Overeem fight, he is still all there in the championship rounds. He can go in the main event rounds. He can throw a lot of volume at the end of those fights. I can't say the same for Augusto Sakai, so that's why I like Rozenstruik. I like him at the beginning of this fight. I like him at the end of this fight as well. All around, I like Rozenstruik, but this fight, most likely, someone's going to land a bomb in the first 3 rounds. I don't see this fight going the 4th or 5th. If it does, though, it's Biggie Boy all the way. And first 3 rounds is Biggie Boy, too. Jairzinho Rozenstruik's winning this fight. He's winning it by KO. Now, where do you go with Biggie Boy here? Right? Like, where do you go from here? Because you got Ngannou who's going to fight Derek Lewis. The winner's going to fight Stipe Miocic. John Jones doesn't want to fight anyone. You got Ciryl Gane and you got Alexander Volkov. Probably you're looking at the winner of this fight's fighting Curtis Blades when Blades does come back. So there's that. Now, I'll say it right now. I don't like that fight for Rozenstruik because I think Blades would probably just wrestle him for 5 rounds. Now, can Rozenstruik land a bomb in that fight potentially? Yeah. Could Sakai land a bomb in that one? Yeah, maybe, but it's looking like Curtis Blades would probably beat the winner of this fight. Who knows? Or you could look at the 2 winners of the co-main and main event fight each other. But the thing is, we have already seen the Tybura and Augusto Sakai fight. So if that just happened, probably not going to see that again. I think the winner of this fight, though, will take on Curtis Blades, and the winner of the co-main event, I don't know, maybe take on, I don't know, give him Chris Dawkins, honestly. Give the winner of that fight Chris Dawkins. Or if Tybura and Jairzinho Rozenstruik win, I would like to see that fight. I think that'd be kind of a fun fight. Maybe we see that. And yeah, I think that's how we go from the division. But I think the winner of this fight, though, will be taking on Curtis Blades. And I think it will be Biggie Boy, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. We're going with Biggie Boy to win this fight with a 1st round KO. And folks, thank God for watching another UFC preview and predictions here on the channel. Yeah, solid card all around. Rozenstruik and Augusto Sakai. There's another fight on Sunday this weekend. It's Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. I doubt I'm doing a video on that one. If you want to see it, I guess, put it in the comments. I doubt anyone's really going to want to see that because you know where that prediction's going. I think you do. We're going with the Maverick Logan Paul. That's a joke. That's a joke. But yeah, folks, thank you for watching another UFC preview and predictions here on the channel. If you haven't not yet, though, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more. If you do disagree with any of my picks, though, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And also, don't forget to leave a like on the video. So again, folks, thank you for watching, and Mamba forever.